Call of Duty World War II is the first installment in the popular franchise to take place in World War II since 2008's World at War. The main campaign takes place in 1944 as you take the role of Private First Class Ronald Daniels as he takes part in the Allied forces' offensive push to force the Germans back to Berlin. Over the course of the campaign's 12 missions that you will take part in, you will encounter famous battles like capturing the Normandy beaches on D-Day and holding back the Germans' final offensive push during the Battle of the Bulge, and even one that has you take part in an espionage mission that requires you to assassinate a high-ranking German officer and liberate Paris. And while it is a great feeling to see the franchise go back to its roots, it cannot, however, save this very short campaign, and depending on which difficulty you choose to play it on, can be finished in about 4 hours. The plot is also very unoriginal and uninspiring. The characters are bland, generic, and one-dimensional, bringing forth every single military stereotype you can think of. The story surrounding Private Daniels is predictable and provides very little actual development for the main protagonist, and by the end you won't even really get a good feeling to even know your squad mates, outside of one, however, who has a very dark past and plays a role in how the protagonist and other squad members see him. Now, it's not to say that the main story is bad, it just does nothing new or original that you haven't either already seen before, or in this particular setting would not be expecting. The overall visual look is top class as it has always been, and so is the music and overall sound design. And it too also adds to the experience of the game, giving you a high, very sense of realism with all the sounds of a chaotic battlefield that you would expect in World War II. The gameplay is very well handled, and anyone familiar with the controls and feeling of the franchise will feel right at home here. Just as the story went back to its roots, so did the gameplay mechanics. For starters, there is no regenerating health, but instead health is replenished by health packs that you can pick up either on the battlefield or request from one of your medics, which leads me to one of the new gameplay mechanics that I thought was rather helpful and unique, and that is the use of your squad mates. Throughout all your missions that you will be paired with, you will be given specific squad mates that can provide you with different forms of aid that can help you throughout your progress. One can give you health packs, one can give you grenades and ammo, one can give you the ability to call forth a mortar strike, and one can even help you see the exact locations of enemies even through walls. There are also a couple of small sections that allow you to take control of vehicles, with one allowing you to take control of a tank and battle a group of German Tiger tanks through ruins of buildings, and one section even allows you to take to the air and provide air protection to bombers on their way to drop their payload on opposing forces' locations. It's just too bad that these sections are too short and that there aren't more of them. When you're finished with the main campaign, you can jump online and play on either one of the returning multiplayer modes, or jump right into killing some Nazi zombies. The Nazi Zombies mode, which just so happened to have been first introduced in 2008's World at War, allows you to fight alongside 3 other players as you fight through wave after wave of zombies, with the primary map that I first played on being rather big and being bigger than any other previous map that I had played before, with several sections to open and plenty of weapons and enhancement perks to help you survive the endless waves of zombies that will fight against you. The multiplayer, though, has been given a number of additions this time around. At the beginning, you will have to choose a branch of the military you wish to join, and depending on how much you level up within that branch, will give you access to exclusive perks for each unique branch. Weapons can have multiple attachments added to them as you level them up, and with experience in achieving specific objectives, you can even customize the look of your weapons and of your soldier. Many of the standard multiplayer modes like Team Deathmatch and Capture the Flag have returned, but a few new ones have also been added like Hardpoint and War, with War being my favorite as you're given specific objectives that must be taken or protected on specific maps. People who have played Battlefield 1 will be very familiar with War. Now, in conclusion, I really enjoyed playing Call of Duty World War II. This is the first Call of Duty game that I felt worthy enough to buy since Black Ops 1, and it's actually been a very long time since we actually went to World War II back in World at War, which definitely automatically would place this game in my top 5 favorite Call of Duty games of all time. The problem is that I think that with the main campaign, which for all of these years since Black Ops 1, I've actually been a main fan of the campaign first and the multiplayer second, the campaign is simply too generic. I mean, I'm not even really a big fan of focusing on the Americans on the European front, because
we've seen it so many times in TV shows and movies, and it's so embedded in our minds in pop culture that it just felt generic. I mean, the story wasn't really all that impressive. They even stole a number of key movie scenes that I thought was really funny, and they felt the need to even push the intensity of some of these quick time events, or not really quick time events, but like action-packed scenes that just felt way too over the top, like they were ripped right out of a straight Michael Bay film, and I just didn't think that was really necessary. What made World at War such a great Call of Duty game for me was that we were focusing on either the Americans fighting on the Pacific side or the Russians fighting the Nazis, which from what I learned in high school, or history I should say, those really are two parts of World War II that we don't really focus too much on, and I think they need to be explored a little bit more, and I think World War did that. And on top of that, the gameplay was great going back to basics, but overall this game kind of felt like it was just a much updated version of Call of Duty Big Red 1, which, again, that too was on my top 5 favorite Call of Duty games of all time, and this game simply replaces it, but probably keeps its same position. And the multiplayer is good. This is definitely the best multiplayer game I've played in some time, and they even took a number of gameplay modes from other games. One mode specifically that I personally enjoyed playing more in Call of Duty than I did in Battlefield 1, but I don't think that they really took the time to really push this game in the right direction. They felt that by going back, it would bring the fans back to bringing the whole setting to a much grounded level, but I don't think they put enough effort into actually pushing the franchise forward. I do strongly believe that it is possible to push the franchise forward by going back to a previous setting, and I just don't think they did a good enough job with this game, and I don't even know what they're going to do in the next game. So if I had to give Call of Duty World War II a rating, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Still a good game, and I think that anyone who's really had a problem with all these Call of Duty games going into the future and being so unbelievable will enjoy this game. I just wish that they had probably put the focus somewhere else or in a different area of that war. So if you like my game review, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track me on future game reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.